Hello, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Heidi Carter, and I'll be taking you through today's session on recent WebOMS updates. In an effort to increase transparency and provide greater service to our stakeholders, I will be recording this presentation as a learning burst and posting it in our Learning Center on our ISO website so that you and others can review it in the future. I encourage you to share this with anyone in your organization who may be impacted, such as your outage coordinators, IT, system developers, operators, etc. Here you see a few acronyms that I'll be going through today. So I'm going to give you a moment to read through them before starting with today's presentation. This learning burst is intended for the EIM community and provides information on the enhancements that recently went into effect that now grant approval delegation of outages within balancing authority areas. This has been accomplished by enabling the BA TOP confirm flag in WebOMS for our scheduling coordinators, or SCs, and our access control list, or ACL user participant types for non-ISO BA outage or origins. These enhancements went into effect in WebOMS in mid-March and are applicable to our EIM entities and those resources and participants that are within their balancing authority areas. In the past, SCs and ACL user participant types that were EIM entities were automatically classified as ISO users, therefore did not have access to the BA-TOP confirm flag in WebOMS, and only the balancing authorities with read-write access were able to check this flag that would allow outages to progress through the outage system. Since the WebOMS workflow in the system was driven based on the participant that created the outage, and all those user participant types were placed under the ISO, they had to follow the ISO guidelines for the outage workflow, which required an approval from the ISO BA or operations staff. This process has caused a great many concerns regarding the timeliness of getting outages processed, especially when other RC criteria was factored in, causing potentially more review time. Though this enhancement has resolved these issues for EIM entities, those participant types that are still listed under the ISO BA will still have to follow ISO outage guidelines, and participants that are outside of the ISO BA will be classified as RC ISO or non-RC ISO, depending on their RC jurisdictions. What is new is that now the BAs with read-write access are not the only ones able to check the BA-TOP confirm flag. That key functionality of moving outages through to approval stage via the workflow has been passed on to the SCs and ACL user participant types as well. Additionally, the BA can go in and check the status of the outages that those SCs and ACL users created. They can make sure that the BA-TOP confirm flag is checked, and if it's not, they can check that on their behalf to move that outage along. These enhancements have removed the roadblock of those located in other balancing authority areas having to follow the ISO workflow and is expediting the outage process for our customers. In order to accomplish this change, the ISO needed to correct the outage origin to identify if the participant was under the ISO BA which could become complicated if a participant had resources in both the ISO BAA and the EIM market. So with this patch, it now allows WebOMS to categorize the resources with the correct outage origin as opposed to the participant ID. That in that way, it can determine the appropriate outage workflow. Here you see a screenshot of the field that includes the BATOP confirm checkbox. The red confirmation required text is not visible to participants creating outages on resources in the ISO BAA, since ISO will be checking this. But it will now be seen by participants creating outages on resources that are located outside of the ISO BAA. This flag lets the user know that advancing the outage is not allowed until that box is checked. On the next 2 pages, we have a series of FAQs that we encourage you to read and also share within your organization regarding these changes that are now available in WebOMS. So what is the purpose of this change for the BATOP confirmation flag? EIMs, SCs, and ACL participant user types that are not ISO BAs now have that flexibility to confirm their own outages. And as we just mentioned, the BAs will have access to the outages that are submitted by their SCs or ACL participant types. And that, therefore, if maybe one of those participant types forgets to update that BATOP confirm flag on an outage that they put in, the BA can go in and make that change on their behalf. Again, a way of speeding up that process. So who does this apply to? The SCs or ACL participant user types that are non-ISO BA and have read-write WebOMS access. And it also still applies to those BAs that have read-write WebOMS access. But who does it not apply to? It does not apply to those SCs or ACL participant user types who are identified under the ISO BA. The ISO operators will still be performing that approval function on their behalf. So what happens if an EIM SC or ACL participant user type do not check that box? Then the outage is going to stay there in the submitted state until either they go in, either themselves or the BA, go in and check that BATOP confirm flag, or maybe the RC desk will follow up on these outages. Otherwise, again, they will stay in that submitted state. The auto transition rule for approved out also requires that the BATOP confirm flag is set in WebOMS. So what happens once that box is checked? Then that outage will be auto-approved most of the time. The reason that this is most of the time is because there are still other criteria for outages that may require additional review from the ISO, from the RC, et cetera. But for the most part, the bulk of the outages will be auto-approved. So there is an automatic transition to move those outages from the submitted to the approved state only if the BATOP confirm flag is set. And that flag has to be checked for this outage to move from a submitted stage to an approved state. Those with the BATOP confirm flag check will have their outages automatically moved from an approved to an out state for the planned start time. And many of you may be wondering, can we provide these updates? Can we check that BATOP confirmed flag via the API? Since many of the organizations use third-party software, that is something that is available. So yes, you can use the API to check that box, and the WebOMS user interface can be used as your backup system to go in and confirm that it is actually checked if you have any concerns. That's another way of double checking to make sure that everything is recording appropriately. So for more information on this topic that we've been discussing, these updates to the WebOMS, we've provided a list of reference links that you may like to explore. In case you have any questions or concerns, any kind of issues about this new functionality, we request that you please enter a city ticket. That way we can route those questions, concerns, those issues to the right staff to be able to address those questions or issues. With that, it concludes our session. If you have any questions on anything presented here today, please feel free to email your questions to customerreadiness@caiso.com. I hope you found today very useful and informative. I really appreciate your time and hope you have a great day. Thank you.